Are we live?
Okay, we're live. Hi.
Already killing it.
It's going really, really well. Welcome to our very first live podcast ever. I am Katie Tregs. With me today is Jessica
Hi.
and Sam.
Hello.
And this is Girls Like Comics, Dammit. So normally this is an audio only podcast, but we're trying something new.
It's going to be great.
It's going
Katie,
so well.
Sam has you clicked so that only you're showing up on the stream.
Oh no, he loves me too much. Hey,
Yeah,
Sam.
that happened to me too. I can't get it switched off. I don't know how.
I think
you
you're
first have to
controlling
click.
You
the
haven't
big picture.
clicked on.
I can click on you, Jessica, but then it doesn't automatically do it. So I think I broke it.
I think if you click someone, then you can just click, unclick them, click them again to
fantastic.
Yeah.
Jessica, you're so smart.
I know, isn't she? Sorry, still tweeting.
All right, I already got my tweet out, Katie, so come on.
Amazing.
I'm so behind.
You're so good at social media, and I'm so bad at it. Yay. Okay. Okay, so everything's going great. We got chat going. Hi, chat.
Hi, chat.
Hello to the chat.
Oh, nice. Okay, so we're talking about a comic book called Monstress. And oh my god, perfect. So Jessica, hold it up and say something so you're the big one.
Oh yeah, it's this one. This is what I'm talking about. Woo! There you go.
It's so thick. It's very much worth your money because it's one of the biggest volumes. Yeah.
Well, and the first issue was so big, and I think it was necessary to keep it that big to it's such an in-depth world that they really needed all of that to get you hooked in the first issue. Because if it was a normal-sized issue, you would still not have a clue what was going on. So,
full disclosure, I still medium didn't have a clue what was going on after I read probably the first 3 issues, which probably speaks more to me as a reading comprehension.
Well, I was rereading it. It came out a few years ago, and I was getting to stuff, and I'm like, I don't remember this. There were twists, and it was surprising me again because I'm I'd forgotten it all, and that was fantastic to be able to get the surprises again. So
that's so great. Okay, sorry. So to back up a second,
to follow the outline that you carefully prepared.
Carefully prepared.
Carefully and meticulously prepared, well ahead of time.
Okay, so we're from Bitch Team Alpha, and Jessica and I do this all the time, but this is our first podcast with Sam, who
to be
I'll
clear,
let her introduce herself.
I'm not the Sam that's usually involved with Bitch Team Alpha. Usually that's your husband, Sam. I'm the different
debatable.
Sam.
Your mentions on the podcast are probably equal to his, I think.
I do feel like every time we've mentioned you on the podcast, I refer to you as the cool Sam, and to her husband Sam as the other Sam.
Technically, I believe that I'm Sam from Goodreads. That's my official title.
That's fair. That's really fair. But I've been calling you Cool Sam. I'm pretty sure either Cool Sam or Good Sam. So
I like it. Either way works. So they're both accurate.
It's true.
But now you're Sam from Geek Heart Games.
Woohoo! Yes. So Geek Heart Games, we just started about a month ago, me and my friend Cody, and it's a video games podcast. So we've got a podcast every Monday, and then we're doing a YouTube video series and some live streams as well where we play games. So we're having a lot of fun over there. So
that's so awesome. Eventually this will go up as an audio podcast, and then we'll link all that stuff in the description at bitchteamalpha.com. And your social media and stuff, if that's cool.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so awesome.
I'm excited. Yay, I get to be an honorary bitch for the night, so I'm so excited. True fact here, you guys were actually the first podcast that I ever listened to.
Really?
So, yes, it's true. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was your episode on Sunstone.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
That one was a really popular episode.
It was good. Well, because I didn't like podcasts before. Like, I thought they were stupid, and I never wanted to listen to one. And I was like, well, this is about something cool, so I guess I'll listen to it. And then I got hooked in.
Chris Hardwick? Yeah.
Take that, every other podcaster in the world.
It's true. And I mean, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be podcasting if I hadn't started with you guys' podcast. So,
oh my God,
it's really cool.
I'm gonna cry.
I know, right?
Well, that's amazing. It's so
we did it. We nailed it. We're done here.
We nailed it. All right, bye. No. That's so great because the Sunstone podcast was the one where we had Danny Danger, who's like the reason I wanted to talk about comics for the podcast, because she was on, she had a YouTube pull list that I was obsessed with. And when founder Katie was like, hey, who wants to do podcasts? I was like, I'll do comics because I love Danny Danger.
That's awesome.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, yeah, this is all going to go downhill from here, but
I love it. It's just going to devolve into all of us like ugly crying and talking about how much we all mean to one another, which is basically how like every conversation I have with Katie goes anyway. I love you so much.
Preach. You just mean so much to me, and I don't know what I would do without you.
Oh my God, I didn't know there would be this many tears on this show.
Well, you know, sometimes you just gotta have a good cry.
It's true. It's so true.
Oh my God. Okay, so Girls Like Comics Dammit in general is something we've been doing since the podcast started, which is like 4 years ago now. But we hadn't done it for like, it's been like a year. It's been a very long time. So we wanted to restart it, and I put out a poll to see which comic we should restart it with. And Monstress was the big winner. Like, I think it got all the votes. I think not the other ones.
I don't think so, because you had one poll on Goodreads and one poll on Twitter, because I remember I voted for Monstress on one and Runaways on the other, because I couldn't decide.
Oh, that's cheating.
It's cheating. That's what I do. So.
Well, at least a few other people also voted for Monstress. So that's where we landed, which is perfect because I really wanted to talk about it. I bought both volumes already, even though I hadn't finished the first one yet before we picked it. So I'm really glad that I got this chance. Monstress, in case you haven't heard of it, which I don't know why you'd be watching if you hadn't, I guess because you love us, which makes sense.
I want to learn about cool new things. So
also a good point. It is written by Marjorie Liu, and the art is by Sana Takeda. I was saying this before we started recording. I think Sana Takeda must also do the coloring for it, which is insane. But there's not like a colorist listed on the comic. It just says artist. But it does list lettering and design by Russ Witten, and editor Jennifer M. Smith, editorial assistant Siri Riley, and then just the created by credits are Marjorie Liu and Sana Takeda. So almost an all-female team, which is super great. And yeah, is there like a cool description on the back of the volume, Jessica?
Let's see. I mean, yeah, do you want me just to read this?
Is it crazy long?
No, it's like that. It's just that bit right there.
Yeah, do you want to just give it a quick read?
Set in an alternate world of Art Deco beauty and steampunk horror, Monstress tells the epic story of Micah Halfwolf, a teenage survivor of a cataclysmic war between humans and their hated enemies, the Arcanics. In the face of oppression and terrible danger, Micah is both hunter and hunted, searching for answers about her mysterious past as those who seek to use her remain just one step behind, and all the while the monster within begins to awaken.
Oh my God, that sounds so good. Let's read that.
Yeah, okay, I'm down.
Yeah, right? Monster within. Ooh. Also, I just saw Travis set up some Nightbot commands for us.
I know, Travis is so on it.
We love you, Travis. So yeah, the chat is linking to our comics podcast and also talking about how much we love each other. Yeah, so good description of Monstress. I think it takes a long time to unfold. I think it's a little bit like pretty deadly in that way, where you're like reading and you're like, so I don't know who any of this is, but I'm on for the ride, I guess.
I do feel like Pretty Deadly was way more convoluted. Like by the time I finished Monstress, I felt like I had a pretty good idea. Like there are definitely lots of twists and turns, but by the time I finished this volume, I felt like I understood generally what was happening. I think with Pretty Deadly, I still will like reread it again and be like, so what is this now? Like who is this new person? Even though I know I've read about them before, and just like every time a new chapter starts, I was like, what is this? But Monstress, I felt like I could follow it.
Yeah. Okay. Sam, so did you feel the same?
I was reading these like as they came out, and like pretty much every time the new one came out, I would have to go back and reread all the others and be like, wait, what was happening again, to like really get caught up and keep track of it all, just because the world is so deep and there's so much going on.
Yeah.
So I think it's a much better read if you can do the collected volume all at once and just go right through it, keep it fresh in your mind. Because like I still had trouble with it, but yeah, it's great though. Yeah,
for sure. Definitely, I read the first issue when it came out, and then later bought the collected volume. And when I started rereading it, I didn't remember anything from that first issue, even though I definitely read it. Like as I was going through, I was like, "What the fuck is happening here?"
yeah, there was so much stuff that I mean, and I'd read some of these multiple times too, but this time it had been so long since I read it, and I'm like, I don't remember any of this. This is so surprising. So.
Right, they introduced so many characters like right off the bat that immediately I felt like super overwhelmed. But it helped that I had the full volume this time to just go through all of it at once. I think if I had tried to read this one issue at a time, it would have lost me pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I agree. I guess I read it. I think I read like the first 3 as they were coming out, and then I like that's when I got off my comics game. And so rereading it this time was like rereading it all over for the first time. I remembered several things though that were very important. I remembered the cat, because the cat is amazing.
God, yes.
I remembered the little girl with the foxtail. So
oh yeah,
the little
Kippa.
kid, Kippa, so adorable. And I remembered how amazing the art is. I think that.
Oh yeah.
Like if we're just talking about overall favorite parts, I think the art is my number 1. Yeah.
Oh, are we talking about favorite parts? Because I definitely know what my favorite part is.
Okay.
I can find it for you.
Is it one panel?
It is one panel, and I'm sure you could probably guess what it is.
Does it involve Master Rin?
Yes.
Oh.
So it's this cat, and it's saying, to quote the poets, "We're fucked."
Yeah. I saved that one.
Yeah, I have it saved. Like, and I send it to people all the time, just like with no context, because I have just the first issue on my phone. So I was able to save just like that little screenshot, and it's amazing how often I just send that to people, and they're like, "What? What is this cat? Why is it saying that it's quoting poets?"
You know,
I love it so much. There's also pretty much every panel with Ren in it is my favorite.
Yeah, I think mine is probably when he's insulting some dogs. And
yes.
he says the line, I sexed both your mother and your father. Like, who talks like that? Apparently cats with multiple tails talk like that. And it's fantastic. So I guess
so good.
Okay, we should
I saved this panel too. I want to just bring that up when she's like hugging him. She's like,
Yep. I love that one.
Like so, every panel that Master Rin is in is just like fantastic. He's so great.
Yeah, for sure. I guess if you hadn't read it, Master Rin is the cat. It's not a cat. It's just like a cat who's a necromancer. Who I guess is like
necromancer. I died a little bit when I read that.
Wait, why? What does that mean? Does it have a meaning?
Because Neko means cat. And it sounds like necromancer.
Cat.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh, get out of here.
Now I get it.
That's really funny now that we understand what that means. That's awesome.
I just like as soon as the first time we said like I'm a necromancer, I was like, shut up, you did not.
Oh my god, that's great.
I had no idea.
Another one of my favorite parts is someone comes to attack them, and in this panel, Ren, like this whole chat bubble is him explaining all of his titles and like his background and like all of the shit that he's done in his life, and the woman just like isn't phased by it, and he says, "You can't blame a cat for trying," and he's like sweating and looking all nervous. It's so cute.
He's fantastic. There's one scene where you just see like his paw coming in from off panel and he's pickpocketing someone's little purse, and it's just this little paw. So cute.
Oh my god, Travis just made a Nightbot command for Master Ren, and it's that quote, to quote the poet, so we're fucked.
Oh my god.
Okay, I think we need to give a little bit of background here. So in this world, cats can talk. I think like pretty much all animals can talk, but cats are kind of like the sage, wise, respected people, studious,
but also discriminated against because people keep referring to cats as dirty thieves.
Yeah, and Anna says that cats are like the most treacherous animals there are, because they're so smart and they're tricky, and so you got to keep an eye on it. But as cats get older, they grow extra tails. So like you can tell like how old and wise a cat is by how many tails it has. Master Ren only has 2 tails so far. But one thing that the books do at the end of some of the issues, they'll have just a single page, and it's Professor Tam Tam giving some type of lecture on the history of this world, and that's where you learn a lot about the world. And Professor Tam Tam is just this cat with a bunch of tails, and he's instructing little baby cat. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Jessica's.
It's so cute. That's what he looks like.
It's so cute.
Okay, hold on though. As I was rereading it, because the whole time, forever, I've always thought of Professor Tam Tam as a male, but then I was reading it, I'm like, wait, everyone of importance in this book is a female, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Is Professor Tam Tam a female? And then there's one in, I think it's like issue 4 or something, where Professor Tam Tam is in an apron and they're cooking like chocolate covered mice.
Oh yeah.
And kind of girly looking apron. And I was like, I think Professor Tam Tam's a woman. Do you guys have an opinion on that?
Lady cat? I mean, it does make sense. Like you said, a lot of the important characters in this story are women, so it would make sense for Professor Tam Tam to be a lady.
Yeah, it's definitely like a very matriarchal.
Yeah, like a frilly. Oh yeah, I got it.
Can you see that picture? Is that?
Oh my god!
Oh my, that's cute. I don't know. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that's pretty clear.
So yeah. So I think based on that, I think she's a female, and she's fantastic. And also the fact that they're eating chocolate-covered mice is just hilarious.
So great.
It's so cute. And I like that she's apparently making these chocolate-covered mice while continuing to lecture them, which is the right way to teach, is to distract them with chocolate-covered goods.
Is that?
I had to employ that in my classroom.
Yeah. That's like a good strategy. So we touched on a little bit, but I guess other than Master Ren, favorite characters? There's a lot of good characters in it.
Yeah, there are a lot of interesting characters. I feel like I don't want to say that any of them are my favorite, because by the end of the book, I kind of felt like all of them were just bad people.
Except for Kippa.
Yeah, with the exception of Kippa.
Kippa's fantastic.
Kippa's pretty cute, but also a little bit annoying. So still not my favorite.
No. I don't agree with that at all. And I dislike children in things usually because I find them annoying, but like Kippa is not annoying.
Kippa is really cute, but I don't feel like she's my favorite character. I honestly feel like I don't have a favorite character, because with the exception of Kippa, who is cute, all the other characters or just like bad people?
Yeah,
Well,
I still wasn't clear in the so her friend is like kind of a character.
Mm-hmm.
What's her name?
yeah.
Tia?
Tia. I I thought probably Tia is not a bad person. But
See, I liked Tia, but then we find out at the end that she tried to kill her.
Yes, that was so surprising. I was like,
Yeah.
so is
whoa.
that okay? I guess I wasn't clear on that. So that is what that means. I
Yeah.
kind of thought that it was like maybe not. I don't like. I know it was kind of implied, but I was just kind of like, because
I
she's
mean,
like,
it's
oh, we're gonna find
possible.
her, and I thought maybe it was like she didn't mean for that to happen, kind of
I
thing.
mean, she was there trying to. There's this part where uh, Micah, however you want to say it, is imprisoned in this thing,
Sarcophagus?
and yes, sarcophagus, and they're under attack, and Tuya is like sucking all the air out to kill her immediately before somebody else can come and steal her because she's so
Yeah.
dangerous. So I mean, she's definitely trying to kill her, which is
Oh my god, I totally didn't put that together. That was
oh
Tia.
yeah.
Yeah, because
Wow,
she's the
that's
robed
my bad.
figure. And so
Yeah, I
you
think
see the
it's
robed
Tuya,
figure
not
come stuck out
Tia.
of the air.
I knew she was the one who like tricked her and like set up that that's who they were meeting, was like they were
Yeah.
gonna capture her, but I did
Mhm.
not put together that. Yeah, because she takes
Yeah,
off the mask
Tia.
at the end, and I didn't like connect that we already knew who that person was in the mask.
And that's why
Oh
that
man,
reveal
never
is so
mind.
powerful because like this whole time, Micah, how do you say it? Micah or Micah?
I've
I've been
been
saying
saying
Micah.
Maika in my head. Like,
Let's all just say it a different way, okay?
Yes. Let's all say it the way that we want to say it.
Okay, so Mayaka is this whole time she's thinking about her friend Tuya and is like that's like part of her driving force. Like she wants to get back to her because they're such good friends. Like she's her only friend in the world until like Kippa, you know. And then to
Mhm.
find out that she's getting betrayed by her, it's just like whoa, it's mind blowing. It was really good.
And Master Ren knows. Like, he knows that Tuya
yeah.
is the Baroness.
Yeah, yeah. So that was I don't know what to make of Master Rin because I thought you could trust him, but like it says in like the very first issue, like cats are treacherous, you can't trust them.
Yeah.
So
No,
so I don't
Master
know.
Red was trying to book it. That is like he was
Yeah.
ready to GTFO after.
And then
Yeah.
in this, like at the very end, Micah sees Tuya's falcon or whatever, and she asks,
Yes.
like, "Hey, is that falcon?" And Ren looks all shady over here, like he's
He's like,
clearly sweating it up a little. It's like,
oh
no,
yeah.
that's definitely not. No, no, no. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
King Mongoose is saying Mike, a half wolf, or make a half wolf, or may eek, a half wolf.
I like
Any
that.
of these pronunciations are acceptable.
Yeah. So in chat, I know at least one person in chat has read Monstress and has very strong opinions about it. So if you have questions or stuff you want us to talk about, put it in chat.
Oh, is that John Eric?
Yeah. John Eric, goddamn, loves Monstress, and he's been mad at me for like a year and a half that I haven't read the first volume.
That's valid. It's fair.
Classic John Eric.
Real distress.
Amazing.
Okay, can we go back to the art for a second?
Absolutely.
Because that was one of the things that I really loved. It's what really hooked me into it. It's got a certain color palette and style. Well, first, okay, this style is just like crazy. Like everything is so detailed and elaborate and beautiful. Like all of their armor. A lot of people wear masks of various types in this book, and they're just so detailed and just like everything looks so beautiful, but it's this color scheme that's really kind of dull and dark. Um, so it really sets a mood. And then towards the very end, Maika is in her dream world with talking with the monster, and they start to see something that's this white with red around the edges, and it's like this bright red that you haven't seen anywhere in the book except on this one person who is like the big bad guy person. And it was just really cool how she used that color to like transition between and kind of give you a hint that that person was coming, because you didn't really understand what they were yet and why they were a threat. But yeah, just having that little sliver in the dream world, and then the very next panel, you see that character and you see that little part of her outfit that has that coloring and pattern on it. And it was kind of subtle, and I thought it was really well done. I thought that was very cool.
Definitely. It was also just amazing to see, like you said, like the way they use colors in each of the scenes, and then the dreams are like so very obviously different because they're those different colors.
Yeah.
It's just every part of it is so good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I love how the demon that's kind of inside her is like slowly unfolds the full appearance. Like I love how eventually it's like creepy eyeballs like coming through vines, and like it mirrors so closely like the weird god things that are like patrolling the sky
ghosts.
And the ghosts and like I don't know, just all like and then at the end there's there's more creepy eyeballs.
Vertical
I
eyeballs
thought it was
always.
Yeah, it's just really cool how like her inner monster just kind of you just slowly see like more and more bits of it, and by the end it's like a walking, talking like vine eyeball thing, and it's just so cool.
It's a dude who's secretly just like a pile of some other thing, which is what I've been saying for way too long, is just what every dude is like. Is
so
you
cool.
look at him and you think he's a dude, and he's actually just a pile of frogs, or he's just a pile of snakes, or he's a pile of vines and eyeballs.
Every time.
It's not one thing, it's another. I'm telling you.
Can't trust him. Can't trust a man. That's what I always said.
Okay, but I was just thinking about this tonight, because I was like, the whole time I've associated the monster as being male as well, but that monster is probably female.
It probably
everybody's
is.
female. Right. So I mean, it's probably just another female monster, which is just crazy.
It probably is.
And it took me a really long time to understand that those huge monsters that they were seeing ghosts of in the world, like that those were actual real things that people were seeing. I thought they were just her hallucinations.
I thought that too, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like other people see them and recognize them. People leave offerings out because they're superstitious about them. But that was weird. And I'm still not entirely clear if Maika like understood that the monster was in her until a couple issues in, when we actually fully see it come out. Because that monster has come out before, and it devastated an entire city in the middle of this war and killed like 100,000 people. But I'm like, was she not aware of herself at that time when that happened? So it's like this new to her. I was like, I wasn't really sure.
It did seem like she didn't know that. She seemed really surprised, like when she went into that dream state and saw the monster inside of her.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think she probably didn't know about that.
But she knew. I wonder if she thought it was just some kind of like hunger, or like maybe something that was like passed from her mom, or like she definitely knew something was inside her, and that she was like actively suppressing something the whole time.
Well, in one of the flashbacks, it showed her like hunting a pack of jackals and killing them all and eating one of their hearts raw. But it was like her, it wasn't the monster. So like she's being affected by stuff. And then there's also the monster that comes out sometimes. So
it seemed like it was similar to that woman that she killed at the end of the first one that they brought back, where she keeps was that Yvette? Or where like she keeps having to feast on like the body parts of monsters, and it seemed like it had something to do with the mask. And I think like the mask is somehow connected to the monster that's inside of Maika.
We're all saying it differently. Just go with that.
That's connected to the monster inside of Maika. So I think it's probably similar, where like she knows that she sometimes has to like feed on those things, and it's not that the monster like takes over when it happens. It's more that like maybe if she goes so long without feeding it, that might happen, but like she just like feeds on those things, because it seemed like that was sort of what happened once she escaped, was she needed to feed and the monster took over, and that's why she didn't remember it. But otherwise it seems like she realizes what she's doing.
I want to bring up a couple things. First, the men in our chat are saying what kind of animals they are piles of.
Yeah, it's going really well.
So King Mongoose is a coat full of dead rats.
Oh, jeez.
Travis is a parliament of owls.
Oh, that's lovely.
I mean, better than a coat full of dead rats.
Yeah.
And then also King Mongoose in the chat brings up in the first issue she gets captured on purpose because she knew she had telekinesis. And I forgot she had telekinesis. Like that
it was
a big point in the first issue, but does she do anything telekinetic again?
Well, I think it's that she can't fully control it. Because remember, like, it shows her practicing and practicing, like, just to open up that one little lock before she gets captured. And then even when she's captured and tries to use it, it takes her forever for it to actually work. So it never gets brought up again. And I think it's, like, part of it is kind of what we're talking about, where she can't fully control it all the time. But no, I don't think it's ever, like, I think that just sort of, like, goes away after that point. Like, she opens that one lock one time, and then after that, just, like, she had telekinesis, I guess.
Do we think that's a monster thing or a make is like specifically very powerful thing?
Well, because Arcanics, don't they have certain powers? So maybe that's just part of her natural arcanic power. I don't know, or it could be part of the monster stuff. I don't know.
I think it might be part of the monster that's inside of her, because it seemed like even the other Arcanics were really surprised that it happened. So like they were like, what is this power that she has? Even the other Arcanics seemed surprised by it. So it seems like it's probably something with specifically the monster that's inside of her.
Damn.
Yeah.
So I haven't read volume 2. Is there a chance that volume 2 turns into a hilarious buddy cop movie? Where it's Maika and her monster buddy, and they're just like trading in and out, going off the rails. The cat's gonna be like, "You're a loose cannon, Maika."
We can only hope.
I mean, I've read some of volume 2. I don't remember a lot of it, but there is a bit of a road trip. So
I mean, that's basically buddy cop.
That's the setup. So hey.
King Manga says, "Oh no, I have 2 dates on the same night in the same restaurant." Yeah. The monster has a date and she has a date.
Tag team in. I love it.
Wow, monster, you really have to go to the bathroom a lot. I don't know.
Also, who do you think the monster is?
I don't know, but I'm so excited to find out. Okay, go on.
Okay, so what we know is that monster turned on all the other monsters and to side with humanity is what it sounds like, and that's why all of the other monsters are gone. And I think that this is the first monster that was tied to the Shaman Empress.
That's what I think too.
Maika is descended from the Shaman Empress, and that's why they have their connection.
I think so too, because I think that that's probably what, like, the picture on like this like statue that we see throughout the book. I think that's the Shaman Empress, right? And it seems like that's the statue that the monster, when they're in that dream state, like he's always talking to that statue, like he knew her. And it seems like I agree with you. I feel like the monster is tied to the first Shaman Empress.
And I think something that we learn from Professor Tam Tam is that there were the old gods, there were the ancients. The ancients bred with humans and made the first Arcanic, which was the Shaman Empress. And she was more powerful than the ancients. And it said something about how she shattered the world. So I think that whatever she did brought the monsters into the world. And then, quick question. Do you guys remember the Dawn Court that has the Lady Warlord who was hunting? Do you think that's Maika's aunt?
Because I think it must be, because at first I thought it might be her mom, and then I think it was like the King Monkey came and said something about her sister.
Oh, yeah.
And then
I still kind of think it's her mom. You don't you think it's the aunt?
I mean, I still think it could be her mom. Definitely, I feel like she's related to Maika.
Because she had the same bang
She looked similar to her.
She had the same hairdo, and you know that if you have the same hairdo, you're related.
Well, specifically, it was like because Maika had the flat bangs, and then the mom had like a center kind of bang part.
Yeah.
At least when she showed up and was like, "Forget my name before you forget this name" or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and then the monster in one of the dream conversations with Maika is like, oh, it's okay. If you die, there's still another in your line that I can go to. So, I mean, she definitely has a relative alive. So I think, and I really think her mom is dead. Otherwise, she would have been with her. It seems like, I don't know.
Well, I think it could be that
wrong.
she's dead, or it could be that she's trying to like stay away in an attempt to like keep her safe, or even like she stays away because like she realizes how dangerous Mike is and doesn't want to have to kill her herself. Because there's even like I found the suspicious thing that he says, which is something like, he mentions her sister and then says, "My apologies, I forgot myself," and that is just like a super suspicious thing that like either she has a sister that like she doesn't want anyone around her talk about, or she says she has a sister and like actually doesn't, and he knows it and is sort of like being a shitty little monkey about it. I don't know.
And also, he's a real cute little monkey, even if he's a little bit monkey. His name's
so
Aku, and he's like the monkey king.
He's the king monkey, yeah, the monkey king.
This tiny little guy. It's fantastic.
Cute little face.
So, all of the ancients look like animals. They're anthropomorphized. I can't say that, but they're animal-like. And I don't know if it was another Professor TM lecture where it's like they're not sure if they were animals that became more human, or if they were just humans that took animal personas, or how exactly they came to be, because obviously they're the ancient ones. Nobody knows. But yeah, they're really cool. They look so badass.
They do.
Okay, can we talk about one of my other big surprises that like blew me away? Because at the beginning, there's Sophia, which is one of the evil witches, and her buddy Atina, and like they've got a relationship going. You're like, okay, that's cool. It's kind of subtle. They're like, yeah, they're together. It's nice. Then you get to a point where you find out it's a betrayal, and Atina is a double agent. She's working for the Arcanics, and she's like been here to like steal all of their data and stuff so that they can't kill the Arcanics anymore. And one of the slaves is actually her brother, and they like escape together, and it's so exciting. I was just like, oh my god, this is fantastic. It's like a spy novel.
That part totally blew my mind for sure.
I mean, I've read it before, but like I didn't see it coming again, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!"
Do we check in on them again before the end? I forget.
Well, we see them like floating away in the
big airship.
Yeah, the big airship, and that's when we find out that they're brother and sister.
Yeah,
but then and that's pretty close to the end, so we don't see them again after that. I don't think.
Right. Crazy.
Yeah, part of like the witch magic, I guess, is like if you're horribly injured or about to die, or maybe even dead and brought back, like their magic can heal you, but like it turns your hair all white. So like that's why she's had her white hair this whole time. And they mentioned Sophia's hair is going to grow back white after she heals from Maika's attack. And it just makes a really neat aesthetic in the book. And then it looked neat from the beginning, and then to find out that there's like a story world reason for it was really cool.
I really like it. Another thing I didn't see coming was the do they call her Mother Superior, the like head nun?
Yeah,
that she turned out to be an ancient.
Yeah,
or she's not an ancient, she's a monster. She's a monster.
Whatever, the same thing as what's inside of Maika.
Yeah,
that was creepy. Yeah, that was the other thing I was talking about with the eyeballs. I was like, oh.
Well, and she was always such an intriguing character because she's one that wore a mask the whole time, so you never saw her face. Turns out, because she's got 3 freaking vertical eyeballs that are just creepy as all get out, so she had to use her mask to hide that. And Maika makes a comment like, "Oh, she's like us," and the monster's like, "No, she is not like us because I am the monster joined with your human flesh. She is just complete monster mimicking the form of a human. She doesn't have a host. Um, so yeah, it's exciting. She doesn't die at the end, so she'll obviously be back to cause some more mischief.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
She'll
pretty cool.
definitely be back.
Yeah.
I just want to bring up one more adorable thing, which is like the samurai cat.
Oh my god,
yeah.
he's like a pirate samurai.
He's
I
so
do
cute.
love him.
Okay, sorry. Just that's my other cute one that I had to bring
No,
up.
that's legit. I was actually just staring at the same page. So
It's like I was waiting my turn, bring up this cat and eye patch because it's adorable.
I love him so much.
He's kind of like the pirate cat from The Last Unicorn.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that pirate cat. Oof. Also, here's all of the different races in Monstress.
I know.
Yeah, and you get
I'm
the
gonna be honest. A few of the times that this stuff happened, I was like, I really could have used this. In the book. Like, thank you, but also, come on.
Yeah. For every time we got to one of Professor Tam Tam's lectures, I was like, where was this like 20 pages ago when I needed to understand what was happening?
Yeah.
Well, and to be honest, the first time I read these books, I think I skipped over some of Professor Tam Tam's lectures because I was like, I don't want to read school stuff. Come on. But like this time I was like, oh my god, this is really important stuff. I'm so glad I'm reading this. So it just tells you a lot about the world.
Oh yeah, it totally does. I love it. I love every part of it. I really like Monstress. I don't know why it took me so long to read the rest of it after I loved the first volume so much.
I feel like it was like something kind of in the second issue when I wasn't reading them like in the volume. I feel like I kind of fell out of it after I got done with the second issue and I still didn't totally understand what was happening. Or maybe it was like the third issue.
Yeah.
But I think, now that it's all out, just like read the whole thing all at once, and it makes it so much better.
Wait, it's not, it's still going, isn't it?
It's still going, so
okay.
yes, but
reading one volume at a time is what I'm going to do and not try to read one issue at a time, which is what I also do with Pretty Deadly, which we were talking about earlier.
Yes, Pretty Deadly is a good one to wait until, I hope that starts up again, but there's only 2 volumes of that.
Yeah. Also, Marjorie Liu is also a romance novelist, which is how I first heard of her, and which is also how I first heard of Monstress, because I picked up one of her romance novels and read it. She writes paranormal romance. I don't remember the name of the book that I read from her because it was a couple of years ago now, but I read it and was like, oh, I should look up other stuff from her, and I saw that she did comic books too. And then I don't remember how we ended up talking about it, Katie, and then we ended up reading Monstress at the same time.
I remember it being very hyped up, before it came out. Maybe specifically on the feminist comic websites that I read a lot, but people were excited about it, and I think with good reason. It was the first supersized issue was really good.
And then I think the cover was one of the badges for Emerald City Comic Con a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, that's the one I had. I was so excited about it. I was like, Monster. I didn't get the creepy one.
Which one was the creepy one? They're all kind of creepy.
No, there was a badge that was for Family Day.
Oh.
This was 2 years ago, and it was, I can't remember the name of the series, but it was a sex demon, and so the cover is a demon reaching around this girl, and she's like, do you remember that?
Yeah, I had forgotten about that
series. I thought it wasn't as creepy as the cover made it seem, but it was just a weird choice for Family Day at Emerald City Comic Con.
I do remember that. We talked about that for a long time, about how weird it was that that was the badge type that they chose that cover for.
Yeah. This thing that happens, that freaked me out when the hand explodes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
because I'm just scrolling through now, what the fuck? Yeah.
Maika's whole thing is when you start off the book, she is missing the lower half of one of her arms. And later in the book, that's where the monster kind of comes out from, and it's like a tentacle monster, and he comes out in pieces, and as things go, the more the monster is released, she loses more of her arm. So I guess these tentacle monsters, they just kind of come out in strings like that. So
Gross.
it's gross.
Also, I just
It was
realized
like a slow transition. I just saw at the end she was like missing her whole.
Oh yeah.
That was like
Yeah.
slowly happening. Oh wow.
Yeah.
I just realized as you were talking that we haven't actually given like an overall summary of this book yet.
That's a good point.
Which, I mean, hopefully anyone who's watching at this point has read it, and so they're not super lost. But should we do like a quick rundown?
Yeah.
I know it's kind of hard to like
This is a hard one to do. This is like
the nail down.
yeah, again, it's like Pretty Deadly a little bit, where you're just like, okay, so it opens and you don't know who anyone is, but
Basically, Micah half wolf, she lets herself be captured and like sold into slavery essentially so that she can go find more information about her mother from someone who she knows her mother. So she like goes and like gets captured and is able to break out and helps the other prisoners escape too. And she's an arcanic. Oh, I'm already out of control here because I didn't explain arcanics already or like the witch nuns or any of it. It's already so much.
you don't know yet. Yeah, so like slowly it unfolds that basically there's like arcanics and then there's also Kumea, right? Is that how you all said it? Which is full of these witch nuns, and basically there was like a huge battle between the arcanics and Kumea that ended with this disastrous thing that happened, and that created kind of a temporary peace between the two nations. But like the Kumeans are still super like awful and hateful toward the arcanics and trying to like eat them. Are they eating them?
the way, so arcanics are descended from the ancients, so they have special powers and abilities. When they die, their body gives off lilium, which then the Cumean nuns take that and use that to fuel their magic. So like they get all of their power from killing arcanics, and that's why there's conflict there. And then they've kind of got the truce because whatever happened that destroyed this whole city and 100,000 people, the Cumean nuns believe that the arcanics have this weapon, and so that's why they're like, well, let's maybe not fight for a while. So that's where the truce comes from. But then like we kind of find out that Maika is the weapon, and there's this part. Well, all right, never mind. Keep going on. Keep going with your summary.
No, I think yeah, that's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Then there's all these other, like everybody's basically after Maika. I think that's like it cuts back and forth a lot between the different groups that are kind of trying to capture her, because some of them because she stole a fragment of a mask that's really powerful when she escaped. Some of them because she's like half wolf, because like I think they know who she is based on who her mom was. And then come to find out like one of them is her friend who wants her dead, I guess.
They're scared of her, the power that she has and the damage that she can do without even knowing it. So the Arcanics have the Dawn Court and the Dusk Court, which they're kind of divided. The Dusk Court is the one where her friend Tuya is, and they capture her and try to kill her. The Dawn Court is the one where we see who we think might be her aunt hanging out there. And what you see when you're with them is they mention, you know, this explosion that killed all the people, and only 8 people survived. 8 children survived, and they have 6 of them, and they're chained up, and they're about to like torture them to try to like figure out why they survived when no one else did. And it's implied that the other 2 that escaped were Maika and Tuya, and that's why they're trying to get them, because they want to understand what happened.
That's what I understood too from like the 6 children and like Micah and Tuya. I don't know if I'm convinced that the weapon that ended the war was Micah, or if it was, I don't think that she knows that it was.
Yeah, I don't
and
think
as soon as we saw the other 6 kids, I thought maybe that it was all 8 of them together.
Oh, that's a really neat idea.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, because I guess like
that would...
near the end when she has like the big explosion, it seems like that's like the same thing that happened back then. Like when she's still in the coffin and she's like, okay, fine, we'll like work. But yeah, you're right that she like didn't know.
Yeah. So I really feel like whatever that explosion was, it probably came from all 8 of the kids somehow, and it was something to do with like whatever experiment her mom did or
Oh, that's
something.
true. Yeah, okay,
What do
so
we
the
think?
thing about her mom is her and Yvette, who had the mask, they were trying to find the Shaman Empress's tomb
Mhm.
because it has all this high technology and magic and just wonderful stuff, like the Holy Grail, whatever. They were trying to find it. And then I guess when they found parts of this mask, they were doing some type of experiments on children, and I think lots of them ended up dead. She managed to get Maika out of there before something horrible happened, but we think that might be how the monster got inside of her as a
Mhm.
result of that.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because it was during that time it seemed like that she got that mark on her chest, which is
Oh,
the
right.
vertical eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the vertical eye seems like it represents like the old gods or the ancient gods or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
So it seems to me that that's probably how that monster got inside of her. And so since Yvette was also doing experiments on other kids, probably this a very similar thing happened, and they all either like they all got monsters inside of them, or like they something with the mask. But like to me,
Yeah.
I feel like it's probably that like all of them together ended the war and didn't realize it,
Yeah.
and that like if they get all 8 of them together again, something similar will happen. I don't know. I
So
wonder too
what?
if like the ghosts of the gods that they see
Mhm.
like are more astral projections than ghosts, and that they're
Ooh,
connected with those kids that are down there, that like if they're awakened from those kids, I don't know. Like now, like this is me
that's
like
really
starting to
cool.
get way too into it, and I was like, oh, what about this now?
I
Because
like that though. I hadn't like connected very much with the ghosts, like how that related back, but that would be really cool.
Yeah, I like that theory.
because I remembered when I saw like towards the end, you see some of the ghosts, and they're like all together, which is the first time you see more than one at the same
Mhm.
time, and they all seem to be walking in the same direction, which might be the same direction that I'm pretty sure it is the same direction that Micah is going. Like you can just like barely make out her airship like in the distance, and then all of these gods sort of like around the ghosts of the gods around her. So I was wondering if that's, I don't know, something to do with it. And then they also have like the vertical eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
really cool.
do we know what the mask is? Or do we just know that it's like an artifact?
I think there, based on how the Mother Superior was reacting to it, I think like the mask has some type of power to like open a portal to bring the old god monsters back into the world, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
wondering
because
if
I know
that's
there's
how
like a
she got the
portal.
monster inside of her. Like, I
Yeah.
think that's probably how Micah got the monster inside of her to start with, was because of that mask.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Which would also tie in with like Mother Superior wearing a mask to like hide that she's a monster. And then, like, if you put a mask on a human or an archonic, they get the monster inside them. I don't know.
Yeah.
There are a lot of like random connections that I started making, and I was like, I just gotta read the next volume and figure this shit out.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
One thing that like was kind of left hanging that I didn't understand. So in one of the flashbacks, you see like younger Maika and Tuya in the slave prison camp with
Mm-hmm.
Ilsa, who is the person that has her at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, they escaped from Ilsa's prison camp because they were off on their own, and then Maika decided to come get captured again to get sold into slavery. And as they're getting transported, like it seemed like Ilsa might have been in on it and like getting her taken by the Kumean witches.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of that scene, Mike is like, "Tell your sister hi for me," and Ilsa's like, "You'll see her before I will, probably." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Who is her sister?" And we never find that out yet.
When she said you'll probably see her before I do, I figured that meant that her sister was dead. And
Yeah,
then when we saw her come up again later, then and we saw that she was the one like running that slave camp that Micah and Tuya were in, I was wondering if maybe the witches were responsible for her sister's death, and that's why she was willing to help. But I don't like, it was hard to make connections with that one.
yeah. But also,
Hmm.
she's like a cruel lady as well, because like one
Oh
of the
yeah,
things
she's
she
fucked up.
does, she wants to do a little experiment with the kids, so she like throws like one noodle at the children because they're all
Yeah.
starving and they like fight each other for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so she's not a good person. So I don't know.
Mm-mm.
It's weird. But that's
That's
one
why I was
thing
thinking that like the only reason she could have to help Micah at the beginning is for personal gain. Like there's got to be a personal reason behind it that it like benefits her in some way. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Oh, well, we kind of missed the opportunity to bring this up for my outline. But forever ago, Jessica and I used to Teen Dog each other, which was sending screenshots of a comic called Teen Dog back and forth. And then Sam was like, the new Teen Dog is Monstress catting. And she said that, I think it was that one of like, the poets say we're fucked.
Yeah.
So I just want to give credit to that because I was like taking screenshots of the cat the whole time. I was like, oh, we're going to Monstress cat this whole thing.
Yeah, I tried that. I feel like Gretchen Wieners from Mean Girls trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen. It's like Monstress cat is not going to happen. But I tried.
I think it happened. I think it's still happening.
It could still happen.
Only now getting into it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm down. I'll start taking pictures. I love that one a whole lot. Bless you.
Thank you. Awesome. Okay, so we should wrap up probably because it's like super late for Sam.
Oh yeah, that's very true.
It's all right. It's a little late. It's fine.
Yeah, I know, but like, thank you so much. It's
I'm just excited to be here. So
later, I know this was so much fun. I'm so glad to talk about it because I was still confused by so much. Y'all explained it to me.
That's the mark of a good story. It keeps you wondering.
Yeah.
So
yeah, especially this one. I think it's like the world is so deep that I think rereading is super valuable, and there's just so much to it, and that's great to do in a comic. I guess it's kind of rare to find a comic that fits so much into what is on a larger scale very short, like 200 pages, and you get so much world. So yeah, overall A+, 5 stars.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts about Monstress?
It's wonderful.
It's super wonderful. Chat, any final thoughts about Monstress? I don't know if John Eric's still watching. He quieted down after he was exposed as dead rats.
Kind of hard to come back from that kind of exposure.
Yeah. It's really hard. So something I want to bring up then before we sign off. We've already picked our next series, and we're going to do Princeless Raven, the Pirate Princess. We had Jeremy Whitley, the writer of Princeless, and Ted Brandt and Rosie Higgins, who are two of the artists, on Raven. They were on one of our episodes of GLCD, which I can link in the chat, and I'll link it at the Goodreads page. And they're amazing, and we love them. And recently, Jeremy Whitley posted on Twitter and Tumblr that Raven is in trouble. She has a very small but dedicated fan base because it's a really great story. It's a basically all female cast, a lot of LGBT characters. There's an ace character. There's a lot of body diversity, and it's a lot of like pop culture references. It's a really great comic, and it deserves to continue forever. So BTA's effort to try and help it is we're going to do our next GLCD on volume 1 of Raven, the Pirate Princess. Not Princeless Raven, but Raven. Volume 1 of Raven's solo series. Yeah.
I know how confusing it is because I was looking at my bookshelf the other day to be like, oh, do I even have volume 1? If not, I should buy it. And I realized I had 2 volumes that said Raven the Pirate Princess. And it's because one of them is Princeless Raven the Pirate Princess, and then one of them is Raven the Pirate Princess. And like Princeless is sort of like written off to the side, and it's very confusing.
Yeah, Raven's solo series still says Princeless in it.
Yeah.
But one of the volumes of Princeless is called Raven, the Pirate Princess. Yeah, so
It's worth it though. Just you can get past it. It's fine. You'll work it out. It's great. You might as well just read all of it. If it has Raven on it, just go ahead and read it.
Just go and read it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also Princess Raven, whatever it is, read it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fuck yeah. Princeless is so good. So we're gonna do that next time. I haven't messaged him, but maybe we'll get Jeremy Whitley to come back and be a guest, which would be
really cool.
That would be really cool, yeah.
Yeah, or maybe we scared him away and he'll never want to talk to us again.
We won't know until we ask.
If you listen to that podcast, it's a lot of Jessica and I being like, oh my God, hi. We love you.
It's true. We have no chill.
None at all. Awesome. So we're gonna try to do this again. I don't know. This worked, right? Did y'all think this was good?
I liked it.
Yeah. So yeah, next time we're gonna do Princeless. We're gonna release the audio for this as a podcast. We're gonna do all the things, and there's more stuff that you can find about this on bitchteamalpha.com. Also listen to Bitches and Liches. There's a new episode of our live play podcast coming out on Tuesday. Yeah.
And you get to hear Jessica do fantastic voices. She's like so cute. I'm envious.
Oh, thank you. Also, I didn't mention this earlier, but Sam actually, I named one of the characters from the one live episode that we did after Sam, and she was like the best character in that episode. The live episode hasn't been posted yet as a podcast. We streamed it on Twitch in February, and I have the audio file, or rather Katie has the audio file, and we will eventually post it as a podcast so people can listen to it. That was a lot of fun.
Is it on the Twitch archive?
I think they deleted it.
Yeah.
Oh, for shame.
It timed out, yeah.
Oh well.
I know.
So I missed it, so I still haven't seen my namesake.
Well, I feel like your character was pretty dang good.
I'm sure.
I will say it was Suva. Like I didn't catch that Jessica was naming the characters after, so I was calling it her Suba, or I called her something weird, and then finally I was like, "Oh my God, I get it!" Like, so I apologize that it took me a second to understand what was happening with the character, but it was the best character in that.
Nice.
It was dope. Okay. Sam is pointing at a series of things. Oh, I see. I can just hit the button. Things are going real well here. Okay. So anything else? Check out Geek Heart Games. Geek Heart Games.
Geek Heart Games.
GeekHeartGames.com, right? You have
Yep.
The .com.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And that's us on Twitter and Facebook too. So nice and easy.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. We did it, everybody.
We nailed it. Start to finish, no problems.
All right. Bitch team out.
Bitch team out.
Bitch team out.